Welcome to Thessaloniki, Greece's second largest city. Set against the backdrop of the Aegean Sea, this dynamic hub blends thousands of years of history with a modern Mediterranean lifestyle. This vibrant metropolis, home to over 1 million people, is a living tapestry of cultures and eras. From the iconic White Tower, standing proudly along the waterfront, to the beautifully adorned Hagia Sophia church, every corner has a story to tell. But Thessaloniki isn't just about its past. It's alive with flavor, rhythm, and soul. Whether you're indulging in mouth-watering food at one of the many restaurants, or keen to enjoy a drink at the stylish bars that come alive after dark, the city's charm is irresistible. Get ready for an unforgettable 24 hours in Thessaloniki, where history whispers from every stone, the food sings, and the streets pulse with life. Buckle up, this city doesn't do boring. Thessaloniki was our point of arrival for our 10-day trip through northern Greece. We flew into Thessaloniki Airport, where we picked up our rental car and then drove into town. Since downtown is much easier to explore on foot than by car, we left ours at the Grand Parking Garage. At €15 a day, it's a safe and convenient spot, especially if your accommodation is close by. What do you do when it's evening and you've only just arrived in a new city? Well, of course, you head into town and check out the food scene. In our search for a place to eat, we weren't specifically looking for Greek food, but anything really that caught our eye and looked yummy. Not far from our accommodation, we discovered Salento wood-fired street food, a place that sells wicked pizzas and salentinas, which are basically handmade sandwiches. The food and atmosphere were amazing. Afterwards, we went for a little walk through the streets for a taste of Thessaloniki's nightlife. Whether you're after a sit-down dinner, a quick snack from a street food stall, or a drink at one of the many lively bars, Thessaloniki's got you covered. To wrap up the evening, we stopped by at Ikigai, a Japanese restaurant where we shared some bao and dumplings. A perfect end to our first night in town. The next morning, we set off to see some of the main attractions in downtown Thessaloniki. On our way to the waterfront, we walked through some of the cobblestoned lanes and alleyways of Thessaloniki's old town. There weren't many people about yet, but we had a chance to peek inside a few of the beautiful-looking restaurants and eateries as they were getting ready for the day. No doubt, starting at lunchtime, these places would have been buzzing with people. Just a few blocks away, the quaint cobblestone lanes give way to grand boulevards like Aristotle Street. Along with 2/3 of Thessaloniki, this part of downtown was devastated by a terrible fire back in 1917. and rebuilt in this quite different architectural style. The centerpiece of this rebuilt and redesigned downtown area is Aristotle Square, right next to the waterfront. In the middle of the square is a statue of Aristotle himself, the famous ancient philosopher who once taught Alexander the Great. Around the square, you'll find ice cream parlors, souvenir shops, and plenty of restaurants, making this the perfect spot to take a break, grab a bite to eat, and go souvenir shopping. From here, it's just a short stroll along the promenade to one of Thessaloniki's most famous attractions, known as the White Tower. The White Tower, which sits right next to the waterfront, is open to visitors between 8:30 a.m. and 3:30 p.m. Entry costs €6 per person. This tower has witnessed centuries of change. Built by the Ottomans in the 15th century, it was part of the city's fortifications guarding the coast. It served as a garrison, a prison, and, less pleasantly, a place of execution. Back then, it was even called the Tower of Blood, or the Red Tower. When Thessaloniki became part of modern Greece in 1912, the tower was symbolically renamed the White Tower, as it came to symbolize freedom and renewal. These days, it's pretty much a museum with an exhibit where you can learn a bit about the local history. The museum tells the story of Thessaloniki across the ages. From the city's foundation in 315 BC, all the way into the modern day. But perhaps the real highlight is waiting at the very top. It's an easy walk to the top, very wide steps, and it's just 33 meters up. From the top, you can get some 360-degree views across Thessaloniki. On one side, you get views across the Thermaic Gulf, which is part of the Aegean Sea. On the other side are the mountains and rooftops of the city. Hidden away in this urban jungle are some remarkable historical treasures. UNESCO-listed monuments that trace the city's story back to Roman and Byzantine times. And that's exactly where we're heading next. To get there, we followed along Dumitru Gunare Street, another one of the city's boulevards rebuilt after the fire. What's special about this one is that it runs right alongside the ruins of the palace complex that the former Roman Emperor Galerius commissioned when he took up residence in Thessaloniki around the year 300 AD. So on both sides of the street, you've got shops and cafes, and in the middle, you're literally walking past ancient history. Further up the street is the Arch of Galerius, which Galerius had built to celebrate his military victory over the Persian Empire. Just a few steps further is the Rotunda of Galerius, which is open to visitors between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m, with an entry fee of €10 per person. The Rotunda dates back to the 4th century AD, and it's one of the many UNESCO World Heritage Sites here in the city of Thessaloniki. This massive circular structure was probably meant to be Emperor Galerius' mausoleum. But here's the twist: Galerius never got buried here. So the Rotunda sat empty until Emperor Theodosius I converted it into a Christian church in the late 4th century. That's when the stunning mosaics were added. Tiny colored tiles forming garlands of fruit, wreaths, lilies, pomegranates, and even a golden cross. These weren't just pretty decorations. They symbolized resurrection, purity, eternity, and life everlasting. For over 1,200 years, the Rotunda served as a church. Then, in 1590, when the Ottomans ruled Thessaloniki, it became a mosque, complete with a minaret that still stands today. After the Greeks liberated the city in 1912, the Rotunda was reconsecrated as a church, and these days still hosts religious services on special occasions. From pagan Roman emperor to Christian saints to Ottoman imams, this building has seen it all, which makes the Rotunda such a fascinating place to visit. Ultimately, though, it is only one of several UNESCO-listed sites in Thessaloniki. Just a short walk from the Rotunda is another UNESCO World Heritage Site, the Church of St. Panteleimon, which is open to visitors between 8 a.m. and noon, and then again between 5 and 7 p.m. Like many of Thessaloniki's Byzantine churches, St. Panteleimon's fate shifted with history. Under Ottoman rule in the 16th century, it was converted into a mosque, then restored to Christian worship in 1912. Inside, the atmosphere is quieter and more intimate than the Rotunda. Though many of its original frescoes were lost during centuries of change, stepping into the space still feels like entering a bridge between the city's medieval past and its living Orthodox tradition. From here, our walk continued to another of Thessaloniki's UNESCO World Heritage treasures, the Church of Hagia Sophia, which is open to visitors between 7 a.m. and 9 p.m. You might have heard of the Hagia Sophia in Istanbul, but there is also one here in Thessaloniki. And just like the Hagia Sophia in Istanbul, this was also a mosque for a long time, for 700-800 years, but today is an Orthodox Christian church again. Built in the 7th or 8th century on the ruins of an earlier basilica, Hagia Sophia, which means holy wisdom, has long stood at the spiritual heart of Thessaloniki. Inside, the layers of history come alive. The space feels awe-inspiring with its golden mosaics and domed ceiling. The scent of incense lingered in the air, curling upward like prayers rising to heaven. Above it all soars the dome with its mosaic of the Ascension of Christ. After a busy day of sightseeing, we made our way to the Modiano Market Hall, where we couldn't resist ordering some of the fresh seafood at Psaragora Modiano Nikolopoulos. They cook seafood on the spot, grilled or fried, just the way you like it. And of course, it was every bit as tasty as it looks. At the Seed Specialty Coffee Project, we grabbed a Freddo Cappuccino, a super popular Greek iced coffee drink for on the way. With that, it was time to say goodbye to Thessaloniki and head to our next destination, the majestic monasteries of Meteora, which you can discover together with us in our next episode.